If the indicator is green, the gun is ready to fire. Orange, reload is in progress. To switch between different types of armament, use the icons on the right of the screen. While main battery guns are reloading, fire your secondary guns. Their firing range and potential damage are smaller, but they are still useful in battle. Before firing, it's also important to correctly position your ship regarding the enemy. The more guns directed at the enemy, the more damage you will deal to it. For example, US Tier 3 battleship South Carolina carries 4 main turrets. But if the enemy is directly ahead of her, it's only possible to fire 2 of them. To use all the guns, you need to turn the battleship slightly. But be careful. In this position, your ship becomes an easier target for the enemy. In sea battles, it's important to lead the target before firing. For example, Japanese Tier 10 cruiser Zhao fires at a range of more than 10 kilometers in the game. The shells need some time to cover such a distance. During these seconds, the enemy may change its course, and your salvo will miss the target. That's why you need to aim not at the enemy, but at the point where the enemy may be in a few moments. This can be difficult to do. In long-distance battles, it's better to fire one gun first, then adjust your aim and fire a full salvo. The main battery guns of destroyers are not their most powerful weapon. This flaw is compensated with torpedoes. To select them, tap the button on the right. The green zones on both sides of a destroyer are areas where it is possible to launch torpedoes. The bright green cone inside one of these zones shows the direction and width of the torpedo spread. There are 2 torpedo spread angles, narrow and wide. The first one is perfect for short-range battles, when it's clear that the launched torpedoes will definitely hit their target. The wide angle is better for long distances. In this case, it's more likely that at least one torpedo will hit the enemy. When an enemy ship appears within range of your torpedoes and you're aiming at her, a gray reticle sector will appear in the green zone. This gives you a hint about the target lead you should take so that your torpedoes hit the enemy. Align the gray sector with the bright green one and fire. And this is the end of our tutorial. Battle, destroy enemy ships, and become the scourge of the seas. Sink or win. Greetings, Captains. World of Warships Blitz takes you to the heart of World War II era naval battles. The game features more than 90 ships of different nations: the USA, Germany, Japan, the USSR, and more. They are split into 4 types: battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and aircraft carriers. Cruisers and battleships have 2 types of guns, main and secondary. Destroyers, and some cruisers, have torpedoes instead of secondary guns. So what do you need to know to fire effectively? We'll show you. Tap the fire button once, and the first loaded and aimed gun will fire. Tap it again, the second gun will fire. Quickly tap it twice. All guns will fire at once. Tap and hold the button. The guns will fire continuously, one by one. To increase accuracy, use the sniper mode. This is the button with binoculars in the right corner. At the bottom are the reload indicators. If the indicator is green, the gun is ready to fire. Orange, reload is in progress. To switch between different types of armament, use the icons on the right of the screen. While main battery guns are reloading, fire your secondary guns. Their firing range and potential damage are smaller, but they are still useful in battle. Before firing, it's also important to correctly position your ship regarding the enemy. The more guns directed at the enemy, the more damage you will deal to it. For example, US Tier 3 battleship South Carolina carries 4 main turrets. But if the enemy is directly ahead of her, it's only possible to fire 2 of them. To use all the guns, you need to turn the battleship slightly. But be careful. In this position, your ship becomes an easier target for the enemy. In sea battles, it's important to lead.
Hi guys, welcome back for the second live stream of World of Warships Blitz. So today we're going to be talking about update 1.4 that has been available since this morning. A lot of you guys are already going through the content. We're already getting some feedback on that, so keep asking your questions in the comments. We'll be answering those. So today, folks, what we're going to be talking about is the British cruisers. We're going to show you the line, talk about their strengths and weaknesses, talk about blueprints as well. Since the last live stream that we've done, we've received a lot of feedback also like continuously through the customer support or also through our Facebook page and other social media. So keep the feedback going. That helps us fine-tune the economy and the game much better for you guys. We're also going to talk about the activity hub. Probably you haven't seen that yet because we don't have an event running, but that's a feature that is also available in 1.4. Mm-hmm. And then I will take the Fiji on a spin to see what she has, and we're going to talk about questions and things like that you guys might have.
Mm-hmm. All right, awesome.
Yeah, so if we can look here at the screen, we also have a new London port with a bunch of fireworks, the London Bridge. It's pretty cool port, also very icy. I guess this is a World War II version since we don't see that much ice in London anymore. But yeah, really cool port. You can get that port if you unlock a tier 5 in the tech line, in the UK cruiser tech line as usual. Yeah, Fox, if you want to talk more about the tech line, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think of those?
So these are really excellent ships, especially if you're a cruiser player. These cruisers have expert mobility. As you're actually moving into turns, you're losing significantly less speed comparatively to the other cruiser lines out there. So your commitment to sort of going in and having a little bit more flexibility to dodge torpedoes, dodge full salvos, like you're going to really feel that coming out of the gate almost immediately. These are really great cruiser destroyer counters, and part of that is that these ships can only use AP shells. So you're not going to need to switch between HE or anything like that. It does have some downsides, obviously, that you're getting a little bit more penetration, but you're also getting a lot more damage on those heavy armored targets. The kind of piece de resistance, as it were, behind these is that while they do have torpedoes, they actually have a single launch function. So what you'll be able to do is, instead of getting a smaller arc on your shots, you're actually going to be able to fire a single torpedo at once against your full deck of torpedoes. Now, these have about a 0.33 second reload time in between, so you are going to have to think about them a little bit, but they're great for sniping. It's really great for setting up torpedo traps against other enemies. And if you're particularly well placed, you can actually use them kind of deftly against these destroyers.
That's the thing that I really like about the single tube, is that like you can have a good control of your torpedo inventory.
Absolutely.
If you know that you're gonna nail a shot, you can fire a bunch at once and they will all hit at the same point. Also, like you said, against destroyers, it's a very good tactic where you can create a wide arc of torpedoes to make it very difficult to dodge. So yeah, really good feature on those ships. I think it's brilliant, especially for more experienced players that want more control of what they do with their torpedoes.
Going in, you should be careful. Like, definitely start your experimentation, but this is sort of an expert level usage of the thing. So don't be afraid to use them. It's going to take a little bit of a learning curve, but definite mastery within this. Yeah,
so we're going to see more about the UK cruisers later when we're going to take one of them for a match. One thing that we wanted to talk about today, and something that is rolling out with 1.4, is some changes to the blueprint system. Thanks to your feedback and also like all the data that we've collected and analyzed, it was clear to us that the blueprint system was not yielding the results that we expected, and it made the progression slower than we wanted. So first thing that we're going to do this time is that you've already seen, and Fox can talk more about the details, but you can already see if you go into the containers, that we've changed the containers that we have now.
Right.
So yeah, now you have 3 containers. You have the gunboat blueprint container, the torpedo ship, and the aircraft carrier. So gunboat is for any ships that only has guns, and you will have like all blueprints that you need in there.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about like cruisers with only main and secondaries, and of course your battleships with main and secondaries.
And then you have the torpedo ship blueprint. That's for also including like torpedo blueprints. So that's for any ships that has torpedo tube. You will need those. And then finally the aircraft carrier blueprints. One thing you can see here at the bottom as well is that we added an extra blueprint container into your daily progress that you can get through XP.
Yeah, so a nice thing about this, just because I think we got some initial questions before, was like what are we kind of expecting when we tap on some of these, right? So you should still be fairly safe in knowing that there's hull blueprints inside. If you have a fire control module, you're going to get that as well. Like it's spread across, yeah, so I think right now we're so with the addition of the 4th container within the XP bar itself, we're also adding an additional 2 to challenges. So these challenges refresh every 12 hours. So that's 4 additional that you're getting a day. So it's a total of 8, and that's a total of 16 blueprints of your choosing for your particular class play style. Actually, if you don't mind tapping a couple, just so that people can take a look at them.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Let's open some torpedo blueprints. So here, we see that we got a torpedo blueprints. We also got a hull, and the hull is needed for all the ships, so that you will get that into all the crates. So yeah, it makes it will make the progress and acquiring the blueprints much easier, so that you guys can focus on what ships like you're playing and not get blueprints for all other ships. I think one of the main frustration, and we see a lot of players playing a certain type of ships. So for example, if you're an aircraft carrier, you don't care about getting torpedo blueprints.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that enables you to focus on the blueprints that you want to get. So yeah, it's a pretty cool addition. Hopefully, like you guys will appreciate it as well. We also have more things coming up for blueprints. Obviously, we couldn't pack everything into one build, but this is the first step in the direction to like both show you that your feedback is appreciated and we listen to it. Actually, like this is how we mostly manage the game. You guys make our job much easier when you provide us like detailed feedback on the things that you care about, so that we can actually action on those. Now you realize that we need to make some design, some design changes, some engineering work as well. So it's hard, and there's a little bit of a delayed response there. But this is our first step into the blueprint economy. And
part of it is like I don't want this addition to worry anybody. We are still dropping blueprints from battle. So you shouldn't be afraid to obviously do more battles for additional blueprints, but and not to mention that we'll also be putting crates into places like, say, the Victory Blitz, or as a part of rewards for ranked battles, or as part of rewards for collection events and things like that. So we're going to be seeding these crates in a lot more locations, so that you can have a lot more agency over the blueprints that you'd like to see.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, talking about the events that we're running, you can see here we have a banner, the collection event, and here now what we have is a activity hub where it makes it easier for you guys to know what's going on in the game at what time. So here we have a collection event. You can see that you can earn token like through different areas. Like here you have an info button. You know exactly how many tokens you can get by ranking in battles. With challenges as well, so it takes you like directly to the challenge page. You can see how many like tokens you're gonna get. We see here like the flags that is like a placeholder for now. Like through the crates as well. The event shop is in there, so now everything is in one place, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the next collection event that we have in the pipe. We put some work into it. The last one definitely received a much better reception from you guys. So we're continuing into that direction. We're also gonna try in the future to produce more exclusive contents for you guys, like to obtain through the different modes that we have.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we jump into a battle?
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, I'm gonna take a tier 7. Yeah, let's take a tier 7. Hopefully none of my coworkers are logged into the test server at the moment, because last time, it was quite an embarrassment for me, like to talk and play at the same time, and I was expecting to play against bots, and some sneaky guys went in there. So Yangdi, I hope you're not there trying to sync me. So hopefully that will go well. Anyway, I will let you focus, and I will let you talk so that I can focus.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I think that part of as we start releasing more and more varied tech lines, part of what's getting very interesting is this divergence between just your standard American tech line and your standard Japanese tech line, which were launch ship time. Right. So now you're seeing, obviously you have French cruisers operating at a very different level than, say, the UK. So here already at tier 7, we see that we have 2 skills that aren't normally, or rather one which is not normally on a cruiser. So what is that, Nat?
Well, we can see here the smoke, like the smoke bomb here. Oh, what is this bot doing? Damn it! I hope
already
this one
just
would
full
go.
collision.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, don't talk to me, Fox.
That's all right.
I need to focus. But,
So it comes with smoke screen and
smoke screen. He saw me. He saw me. What are you doing, Maggie?
That's great. So you already have, sort of the smoke screen ability to look forward to. So you still have, with this mobility, an ability to actually disrupt or even help defend players who are under heavy amount of fire, right? So you can use other people's smoke screens to actually get away. One of the best tactics I've actually seen in-game lately has been players cutting a line with their smoke screen in order to defend everybody else who's behind it, and really helps kind of push those full salvos. So as you're moving forward with the rest of the convoy, you're able to actually give a layer of protection that most cruisers can't actually afford, right? So here we are engaging in battle, and as you can see, as I mentioned before, only AP shells.
Yeah. So one thing as well, worth mentioning. So we sent everyone ship slot earlier with the release of the new tech line. That's something like you can expect to get, so that you can start working on the tech line. So here, we see, I'm firing some torpedoes in a single shot. This is really cool. This is a really cool feature.
That's incredibly helpful. Oh, getting yanked on the side.
I went again in the middle.
I think he'll be relatively safe given the competition. So here you're actually seeing you could potentially spam them. You're also not locked into just completely releasing, let's say 5 with an incredibly long cooldown. You actually have a lot more control over what your cooldown is going to be. So as Nad's actually just kind of doing some placement fire, you can chip away at enemies, even potentially just doing some damage over time with flooding. All the while giving you more focus to your primary cannons and giving yourself a little bit more chance to do some citadel hits. So overall, I feel like these particular ships have a lot of interesting counterplay that we're going to see develop, at least up through from tier 5 to tier 8 within the next coming weeks.
Yeah, and I'm going to die.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was paying attention once again, and I went straight into the heat of the map.
Oh,
so
bail.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Maybe we can start taking some questions as well from.
Absolutely. Let me switch over
from the audience.
So, what ships are balanced in 1.4. So Steve, this is from Steve Parker, and I want to call this out specifically. Like, you guys should be able to see the patch notes soon if they're not already up. They are up, and so we did a lot of balancing around torpedo ranges, torpedo speeds. We did some work around damage with them, and this torpedo balancing actually even hit our CV players, right? So I would take a much more detailed look at what those changes were. They might look small, but it's kind of our way of edging people both down and up at the same time. So you should see, a couple of battleships are in there, a couple of cruisers are in there as well. But we really wanted to look at kind of touching torpedoes across the board without disrupting too much of the meta. We are still obviously looking very heavily at ship balance. You should expect it almost every single build. That's the best I can say without getting into too much.
We're always collecting data. We're trying to make sure that each class is well balanced against the other. We're going to be in the future also reflecting that on the gameplay. Actually, that's something that I wanted to tease a bit. I know that our community manager is not going to be super happy about that, but in 1.5, so we already started working on 1.5. So we have a part of the team that is going to focus on making sure that 1.4 is stable, but our engineers and our designers are already working on some different things. So one thing that we're working on is that we're working on a way for free players to get more rewards and more consumable, etc. So essentially, to reduce the grind for free players. So that's one thing that we're going to be releasing with 1.5. We're also looking at ways to improve communications. So we already added with 1.3, I believe, it was the in-game the barrel commands. We're going to release something that is like pretty big and that is going to improve
communication drastically.
Communication a lot, between players. That's something that you guys have been asking, and also I would like to be able to communicate more with the players. So another thing, it's a pretty big feature. So 1.5 is actually going to be the biggest update that we're releasing so far. We're going to have a commander system. We're working on that. So you guys, I think some of you already know about it.
Let's see how you placed. Sorry, keep going.
I placed.
Third place.
Joanna and Julia were really good, so no wonder she's MVP. But you want to take?
I'll take the first spin.
We have two new. Sorry, what am I saying? We have two new game modes that are going to release with 1.5 as well. So hopefully you guys will be excited about that. We're going to be teasing those throughout the month. So stay tuned and we'll give you some updates. So now let's go to the questions. When are German battleships coming? Everybody is waiting for those. They've been taking a lot of work. We are going to release them this summer. So guys, keep a lookout for that. They're coming this summer. We don't know exactly when. We're trying to do something special about it because it's a very special tech line. Second question from Philip. Will you improve the bot system or even get rid of bots? Right now, we're not going to get rid of bots. We're thinking of ways where we can improve bots, and there is something coming. Probably not with 1.5, but there is something where we're working on to improve the bot behavior, and especially regarding the latency and how they turn sometimes really fast, and it makes it really hard to hit them with torpedoes and with the cannons. Another question from Jameson: will the torpedo issue be fixed? to where they miss by over a boat's length and cause damage or kill you. So that's something we're working on again. Like I mentioned that in the previous team. It's due to latency and to server infrastructure. Sorry, it's a pretty difficult word for French speakers. But we're working on that. We're trying to improve the performance of our servers. It's a little bit more complex. It's in the work. You guys have been talking about that a lot. It's in the work. Did anything change in the ship hitboxes this update from long? So by that I imagine that what you mean is how accurate the hitboxes are, and again, like this is server based, so this is not something that you will see. The only thing that you can do on your side is make sure that you play over Wi-Fi or in areas with good connection. What are we going to expect on the next update? I already talked about that, so yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see the questions as they're coming live. I'm trying to pick up something that we haven't talked about because a lot of those are the same. So what is special about the Brit cruisers? That's something that we discussed already. Will the next patch buff the silver economy? Again, from Long. Yes, we're going to improve the silver economy. So this time, like we started, especially everything that has to do with the economy, it's very sensitive because like tipping the scale in one direction could break the progress of the game. So something we're going to do with the silver economy is going to come with 1.5. We're looking at a different approach because we currently buffed already in the battles, and we're looking at maybe reducing the cost of ships or doing any other areas where we can like either give more silver or reduce the cost of silver. So that's something that you can expect I think it's hopefully it will make it into 1.5. We have like a lot of work for 1.5. Like I said, it's one of our biggest updates, but that's on top of our priority list, essentially to enable all of you to enjoy as much as possible the content and not to feel like the grind is too much and being stuck on certain tiers.
Full whiff.
Will there be super containers which players can win, similar to World on Warships on PC and World of Tanks Blitz? Yes, that's something that also is in design, so it's not scheduled yet, but there are ideas around that among the team. You guys also have suggested some, so we're listening to those until I receive an idea where I'm like, wow, yeah, this is the way to do it. Right now we're still gonna work around the design on that, so feel free to send suggestions on that on our social media page, comment on this live. I'm always looking forward to the ideas. I spend a lot of time reviewing like all your messages, even the one that hurt, but yeah, it's really useful, especially for me like to play in the game. You guys can add me as well, like on the European server. I enjoy like playing the game, reading your comments and things like that is definitely helpful for us to decide in what directions to take things. And as you've seen with few updates now, we really try to listen to your request, and your ideas are often like very good. There's no ideas that would completely break the game, and you guys understand that we're working on and hard and trying to deliver all of those. So are you doing better than I was doing?
I'm doing exactly what I yell at my team about all the time, which is going directly for this carrier. I'm a carrier player, so there's a lot of hate.
Cool. Will premium time ever be shared with World of Tanks Blitz? That's very difficult to do technically. So we're talking with the Tanks Blitz team a lot to see where we can do synergies and things like that. Unfortunately, this is very complex to do because we wanted to do that as well with PC when we release the game on mobile, and it's very difficult to do due to the platforms and the account login and things like that. So for us, like, to keep track of which account has done what, but in the future, that's something that is not up to the game team to build, and it's more like central tech. So we'll see in the future. Sorry, that's not a functionality for now, since we know that a lot of you are playing both games. But that's a good idea, and it would work. So, do you have plans for Fleet Wars? Yeah. It depends what you mean on by Fleet Wars, Chris. But yeah, I guess I'll let you guys, like, it's an interesting idea. We talked about that. I'll let you guys in the community, in the comments, on Discord, on all the channel, on the Facebook group as well, talk about that. I'm curious to see what do you guys imagine as Fleet Wars, and it's an interesting thing. That's something that is definitely in the pipeline for the future, not in the near future, but we have more things for players to do in the coming builds. Are you working on the consumables missing when you go into battle and you have enough in stock? Yes. So it's very difficult for us to identify the bug. We haven't figured out what causes that issue yet. Some of our engineers have been like pulling their hair over this issue. So what we're going to do is that we're going to have to change the logic on how the consumables work, and hopefully that will satisfy everybody, like, because some players also have been asking about an auto repurchase and auto load function. So hopefully that's something that we can deliver to you guys soon, and that will hopefully fix as well the issue of the consumable disappearing when you go into battles.
Yeah.
Any chance of having a trial run with the ship before buying it?
Oh, big time.
Yes. It's possible. That's something that technically we can do. We haven't used that functionality yet, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. There is different ways of doing that. There is like a way of rental a ship. There is a way of like taking it for just one tryout, etc. But also we think that our ships are pretty complex to masters. Like, from any tier, there is no easy ship. You need to play and do some research as well. Look at historically what were the strengths and weaknesses of those ships for you to understand better how to play them. So we have different ways of doing that, and that's something that we're looking at as well. And hopefully we will try it. Soon. Some events have been pretty hardcore. Will you change that? Like collection event, the last victory blitz? Yes. We're always... So actually, I'll give you some insights on how we balance our events. So what we do is that we look at the data and we look at what you guys are doing in terms of performance, how many battles, how many victories you are doing over a certain period of time. So we make sure that all our goals are achievable. Now, some events are catered to more hardcore players because those guys want a challenge. Some are geared toward the general players that are playing like only few battles a day, etc. So that's something that we're always looking at, and where our events will get better and better over time. So the last victory blitz was 100 victories, a lot of feedback from you guys, and we're really thankful for that. So not all the events will be hardcore. Some events will be less hardcore than others, and we're trying to adapt the rewards based on the engagement that is required to complete them. So we're running out of time now, and because we need to get back to work, 1.5 is pretty big. So last questions. Yeah, some players worry the player base is getting smaller. Are you doing anything about that? So actually, it's not that the player base is getting smaller. Like, we have more and more players. A lot of more people are coming like every day as we release new update and deliver new systems. So yeah, we keep attracting more players. It's just that with time, the community is more spread around the different tiers as well. Also, we have different servers and more game modes. So that's something that we've been looking at, and we have changes that are in design right now to make sure that, okay, we can have more players and have the matchmaking more fluid at certain times. So we're going to try to, have more focus on what you need to be doing at a certain point of time. Because, for example, when the ranked battle is running, people should be playing the ranked battle, but we see also a lot of players playing random battle at the same time. So we're gonna make some changes to help you guys focus. And also, there's the natural progression of the game where if you go to a higher tier, if you're one of the first to get there, you will see less people. The game is only a few months old, so it's normal at that time to see that not everyone is progressing at the same pace, and the community is getting spread around the tiers. Cool. Yeah, that was all the questions. Thank you guys, especially on Reddit and Discord. You guys, your engagement is really motivating for us to see how much you care about the game, and to see that we all share that passion for the game is really interesting. And like I said, he makes our job much easier when you guys provide feedback and help us identify what are the issues. Even when you come up with solutions, we're like, oh, that guy has a really good idea. Let's just copy it and put it in the game. So really useful. Thank you guys for joining in today on the stream. Thanks, Fox, for doing better than I did against the bots. I will go and talk to the bots after the stream and make sure next time they don't embarrass me again. Cool. Thank you guys, and see you for the next live stream with hopefully 1.5 update that is going to hit next month.